Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry Gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 258th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me today, my podcast Ride or Die, the 067 to my 001. You can find her on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. Miss Ali Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
Doing good in this nice, chilly, overcast afternoon, thank goodness. How about you and the pups?
We're doing pretty good, yep. So, listeners, full warning, any burps, farts, sniffs, scratches, that is not Ali or myself, that is the dogs. But I think I've done pretty well to mask those in the edit, and they also are learning to keep a little bit more quiet when the microphones become hot. So, yeah, we're all doing good. Lockdown life down here in Melbourne, but, no complaints. The weather is nice today, so maybe we'll get out to the park over the road for an hour or so at some stage today. But yeah, we're doing good. We've got a special dog trainer coming in on Monday to try and get these boys whipped into shape, and I guess myself whipped into shape too, because I'm part of the problem. So yeah, just going to try and get these boys living their bestest lives. So next THG, I'll have a full report to let you know how John, the dog trainer, went. And how the boys went as far as just, getting a few little things out of their routines and just getting them more comfortable in certain situations and all that kind of stuff, and just trying to be the goodest of doggos.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Set a few boundaries.
It's exciting, and he's confident. I respect the hell out of this John guy. He's like, yeah, I only need one session. I'm like, what? One?
Okay.
But, it's several, it's 2 to 3 hours. And, yeah, he's apparently pretty legit. I've looked him up and checked his website and his credentials, and he's worked with the government and police dogs and this, that, and the other. He's a pretty big deal in the dog training world. So maybe he does only need one session. Maybe. So we'll see. We'll see. The dogs could be little superstars by the time we record.
They'll be running the podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll be downstairs slaving in the kitchen, making them all these things, and they'll be podcasting here. But yeah, enough about me and the doggos. What about yourself? What have you been doing this past week, Miss Hart? I see you've done a little bit of binging.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing much gaming wise. Studies and other kind of stuff kind of got in the way. But for whatever free time I had, I decided to watch this Squid Game TV show that everyone was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the need to mostly binge it because you people out there in the freaking internet just can't control yourselves and, spoiling crap. So, yeah, we decided to kind of push through and watch it. So we completely finished it within a few days. And yeah, it was good. It was I can see why some people enjoy it. I wouldn't necessarily, give it any props in major originality. I feel like I've seen quite a few things that are essentially the same thing. To me, it felt like a combination of Battle Royale and Saw. So yeah, the ideas and themes are there. Some great characters. I did the mistake and watched it dubbed.
Oh, yep. For the most part, it's okay, but there's just a couple of characters that the dub is rough. I pivoted after an episode or so to the sub, but there's some rough dubbing.
It's bad. I could tell that the actors were giving it their all, but when unfortunately the voice work felt like anime voice, like voiceovers. So there was just there was a lot of there was a lot of mistones that were kind of going on, and then I think obviously they weren't saying things similar to what were being said. So yeah, there was a few moments that were really off. I'm sure like there should have been more sentimental moments, but I guess because I was watching the dubbed version, it didn't, make it as sad.
Yeah, and I've seen even on the social medias, there's been a lot of people that have actually done the proper translation to what they're saying. And even not only some of the dub is incorrect, but also some of the sub doesn't line up. So there's parts where they've sort of missed some really, really big plot points and sort of emotional developments with characters by just miswording what they've said, whether you're watching the sub or the dub version. And they were saying just a few of the moments didn't hit as heavy as intended because the sort of audio conversion was a little bit hit and miss at times by whatever agency did that. So it's a bit of a shame. But like I sort of shared my thoughts on this last week. I thought it was pretty good. But I think the internet hysteria has certainly built it up that it's almost the greatest thing ever invented is a little bit much.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fine. 9 episodes. Some massive big emotional oomphs. What did you think? Like, we'll avoid spoilers, obviously. What did you think of the marbles episode? Because that seems to be the one. That's like episode 6. That seems to be the one that does the big emotional gut punches more than the others.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, only one thing bothered me in that. Only one character I actually, kind of cared about. Probably impacted me on that episode, but everything else I kind of I guess that's the other thing that maybe kind of stilted my enjoyment of the show, is that there was a lot of things that I could just already tell was happening, so there was no shock factor, but yeah, there was a moment in that episode where kind of upsetting, but for the most part I am really disappointed that I didn't watch it subtitled, because I could tell the actors, their acting was great. I could tell that their acting was really, really good, but I just had these kind of weird with dubs on top of it, so it kind of threw me off in moments. So
yeah, which sucks because it makes that acting almost then become a little bit parodied or caricature-ish.
Yeah.
Which I noticed because I was doing something when I first chucked on episode 1 with the dub, and I'm like, this is fine, but then you'd meet a character and you're like, oh boy, yeah, this is, now I feel like I'm watching My Hero Academia or something, so I need to go to the sub and pay more attention. But cool concept. It's good to see that a foreign TV show is getting so much hype from the mainstream,
yes.
and it's blowing up, and Hwang Dong-hyuk, I think as you pronounce his name, he wrote this thing many years ago, and just no one wanted to fund it, no one wanted to borrow of it. It took him apparently 10 years to get this thing over the line, and now it's over the line and it's popping off, and they're already saying, okay, we're looking to do a second season now and all that, and then they're going to focus not on the contestants, which I like that if they do a second, that they'll maybe look behind the curtain and see more about the sinister group that operates all these things and get a bit of that.
Do you think it would be the same show? Because I know what I cared about was the game.
Yeah. It'd be very different tonally, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I the moments I cared about the most was watching the fucked up nature of the games and, seeing how people acted. That's the part that I enjoyed. So if you kind of shoe on the other foot and look at the people creating the game, will it have that same kind of tone and nature as this first season did? So I'm a bit kind of ooh, about that whole idea. So
I don't think it's needed, because it probably won't have that same impact, because it's the stakes that are the thing that you're tuning into, and the attachment you might grow to certain characters in it, where it's life or death in some situations, and they're in very desperate life circumstances, so you root for them. Where if it's just the faceless corporation behind this, I don't think that's spoiler. You see a lot of internet stills with people with masks on, those types of people. If it's going to lean more into that, I don't know how you'd make that a whole season, but as is tradition, once things become successful, they go, you know what? How much more blood can we get out of this stone?
Yeah.
Let's grind this down into little pockets and packets, and make it happen. But 9 episodes, good little banger. You can smash it out in a day or a weekend or whatever if you're feeling like a big thirsty binge. But definitely give it the full attention and watch the sub version to get the full impact.
If you can. I understand not everyone can. Like they might only be able to do dubs, but if you're sitting there thinking like, oh, which one should I choose, definitely do subs if you can. Yeah.
But no, it's good. I think it was a pleasant surprise for just about everybody in the in the pop culture mainstream community, because no one was talking about it before it announced, and then just went poof, and now everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
There's goddamn Roblox Squid Game offshoots you can go in and play with kids and all that. Like, it's weird. Like, it is breaking down barriers left, right, and center.
There's already Halloween costumes.
Yeah, what a time to be alive, Miss Hart.
Yeah, it's good. Like I'm like you kind of addressed that. It's good to see a TV show that wasn't made in the Americas, kind of leading I think their #1 Netflix show almost globally. So it's good to see that. So
and it's 2021. Would you predict by 2024 we're going to have a westernized version of this done in America? Maybe it's not going to be called Squid Game. It's going to be, I don't know.
Well,
what's an American? What's a bald eagle game or something? Very pro-American.
Maybe, but like they had to call it Squid Game because that was the game.
Yeah.
So in Australia, wouldn't it be Bull Rush?
Yes, I'm so happy you get that. Or if we just included another very Australian game and called Stuck in the Mud. I want some Stuck in the Mud action.
See, Bull Rush would be deadly because the whole aim of Bull Rush is just absolutely attacking everyone.
Yeah, and you're sort of more so in the middle instead of right at the back. Because that's like more so, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? Remember that game too?
That's red light, green light.
Yeah,
yeah.
But we just chucked a wolf in there. But yeah, I think in 2 to 3 years, we're going to have an American version of this with maybe like a down on his luck Bradley Cooper playing as 456.
I just have another like imagine like the Australian version where everyone has to wear those hats with the little flap on the back and the tiny shorts.
No hat, no play.
Exactly. It's one of the rules.
The old flap hat. What are they called? Legionnaire's hat, I think, is the
that
proper
what they
term
were
for them.
called? I don't remember. I just hated them so much. Handball
Side
could be
note,
another game.
Your school hats with the flaps on them, did you have the little Velcro patches so you could actually roll the flap up and like Velcro it to the side so you could be deflap?
No, don't you even dare think of that. And if you grab that little flap on the back and you try to tuck it in underneath your hat so it looked like a normal cap, you would also get in trouble.
Yeah, we'd get in trouble for rolling them up, but the hats had the Velcro on them. It's like, Miss Mazzarotti, that's what it's there for. We didn't stick the Velcro patches on to do this. No one wants these hats. But we had them anyway. The old Legionnaire's hats. But yeah, Squid Game, doing all kinds of good things for Netflix, writing all kinds of records, and it's nice to see some good cinema coming out of South Korea and getting a lot of love globally. And no doubt we're getting Squid Game 2, and Squid Game Americana with Bradley Cooper in 2024. So watch this space. Regarding stuff I've been watching too, I watched the season 2 finale of Ted Lasso last night. It's nice. It's a bit of a longer episode. It's 45 minutes, I think, thereabouts. So it was nice. It gave it a little bit more time to, I guess, close up plot threads from season 2 and wrap up some certain storylines that were sort of lingering throughout season 1 and season 2. But as much as the internet seems to like pounding on this show for season 2, I don't get any of that hate. Like, I'm still really, really enjoying this show. It's still got so much heart and honesty and funny moments as well. Like, there's parts where I'm audibly laughing out loud, then there's parts where I'm getting teary-eyed. Like, it's really, really good writing, and I love everything about it, and I can't wait for season 3. And yeah, if you enjoyed season 1 but haven't jumped onto season 2 because of the social media discourse, I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching it, because it's still really, really good television.
Full disclosure, we stopped watching it in our house because it was getting kind of sad. So, yeah.
It gets a lot more real in season 2, but that also doesn't downplay that it's still nice and wholesome and funny. But there is a few moments where it does sort of beat on the emotions a little bit, but I didn't mind that sort of change in tone in parts because it, fleshed out these characters a bit more and gave them a bit more depth.
Yeah.
And lastly, what I've been playing, I rolled credits during the week finally on Far Cry 6, the latest jaunt by Ubisoft. So thanks to the team over at Ubisoft for throwing me a key on Xbox Series X. Looking to do a spoiler cast in the coming days, but I'm just waiting for people to finish it so I can talk about it with somebody because it is, as is, I guess, Ubisoft tradition, it's a big game. It's many hours that can go into this game. The island nation of Yara, which is, I guess, modeled very much and closely to Cuba, is a very, very big map to explore with many things to do, much things to get involved in. The storyline, really, really good. I like the overall plot and how it plays out. I like the characters. Giancarlo Esposito as El Presidente, Anton Castillo. It is just about my favorite antagonist portrayal in gaming that I can remember. Like, wow. I love this dude, and I think you and I have both sort of gushed over him many times over the years. And to see that same Giancarlo that people have grown to love from, things like Breaking Bad and what have you, to see that play out in a video game, and especially with the graphics, like, it feels at times like you're watching a TV show because it looks really good. Like, some of the facial animations might not always be as smooth because it's a video game, but he's a great character, great foil to your Danny Rojas, whether that be male or female preference. And he's just a good, constant big bad that's always lurking over everything you do. And, even when you get the wins, he'll always have some kind of tactic almost to immediately sort of pull that win back and give you these big, massive emotional moments. The combat's crazy. They lean, like, obviously Far Cry, it's very much about choice and open world. You can do things as you want, how you want, when you want. So you can go in all guns blazing. You can play stealth. You can play funny. Like, there's some very quirky weapons at your disposal. Anyone that's seen the trailers know that there's like a CD launcher that plays the Macarena, which is actually a very powerful weapon, mind you. I use that a little bit throughout my time just to get a feel for it and also have a chuckle when what is it, Los Del Rios, I think, did the Macarena. I think that was the artist behind that song.
I don't think they were the original creators of that song, but they were the ones that I think mainstreamed it. Yeah,
that's very true. That have been the late 90s?
Yeah, it would have been like mid to late 90s.
Yeah. But that song was blowing up, and you're blowing up people with that song by the way of explosive or very dangerous CDs, which is phenomenal. So there's moments in this game where it's sort of putting you emotionally through the ringer, but then there's parts where you're audibly laughing out loud just through the sheer insanity, whether it be just a random side quest or a character you meet, or your amigos, as they call them in the game. So the amigos is your right-hand animal companion. So that can be Chorizo, you see the little dachshund in the little wheelchair, or it could be Guapo, the alligator. There's Chicharron, which is like an angry, very aggressive, wanting to fight everybody rooster. And then there's like other like cat and dog variants as well. Boom Boom's another dog. And then there's also some other amigos you can get via the way of the version of the game you own. And having those with you in the game just adds a nice little wrinkle to the gameplay. Like, each of them, one can be more oriented into stealth, and they'll tag enemies for you that they can see in their peripheral vision. Guapo and Chicharron, they're pretty much just ready to, like, they're just, they're there for pure damage. So you'll see them run in, and you'll see the giant rooster fucking come in and fly kick an enemy and scratch the shit out of him, or the gator come in and try and death roll something. So seeing all that play out as you're shooting Macarena flying discs and rocket launchers, and you've got helicopters coming at you and enemies from everywhere, like, it's really, really intense. And that sort of big time combat gameplay just adds to some really, really cool moments. And graphically, when in those moments, it looks phenomenal. Like, played on the Series X, I didn't notice any sort of tearing, any sort of juddering, no frame drops. So it was super smooth when there was just maximum carnage playing out in front of you. And then all on this beautiful island backdrop where, you know, you've got a sun setting or a sun rising, you've got an ocean in the distance, and you've got palm trees. Like, it's gorgeous. Then you've got bodies flying everywhere, and then you're, you know, patting your pet alligator and all this kind of stuff. It's just insanity in video game form, and I loved it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's not a perfect game. You know, there was a couple of times there I'm like, this is dragging a bit, but because there's so much to do there, I guess you're going to feel like you're going to get your money's worth.
Yeah, I didn't see myself playing this game, sadly. I don't have the patience for Far Cry games and how long the games are. Like, I think I dipped my toe into Far Cry 4. Is that the one when you're in, like, in the mountains, like the snowy mountains? It was before
I
Primeval.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually had to stop because I got motion sickness. Isn't that terrible? Motion sickness.
That happens to you infrequently in video games, I've realised, Miss Hart.
It really does. It's a sign of the times. It's so bad. But either way, like, I also understand that the Far Cry games are very long. There's a lot of story, but then between story, there is a lot of, like, run around and a lot of, like, slow moments too. So I just don't have the patience, which is sad because I would like to kind of witness the story of this one. This one's very interesting, and I'd obviously like to see the acting. Especially you saying that this is, like, one of the best, like, bad guys in video games. You know, that to me is a big call, especially when one of my favorites is Far Cry 3's Vaas.
Yeah, Vaas is phenomenal. Like, obviously they're played completely different as far as, like, I guess their delivery and their tone and just how they are as people. But yeah, he's up there with Vaas, you could say, as sort of the best portrayals in this franchise. And I don't know, just Giancarlo just brings it, you know, and he just, I don't know, he's just got this weight that he can add to any role he plays, and it feels like that. Like, every time you see El Presidente come onto the screen in the game, like, oh fuck, what's going to happen? What's going to happen here? What's he doing? Is he, you know, going to further fragment his son Diego's mind and, like, brainwash him to the cause, or is he going to do something really violent, or what's going to happen? And it was, you know, he just carried every scene he was in.
Yeah. So that's the main, that would be the only reason I would play this game, is just to bear witness to that. But luckily I can watch other people play it. So yeah. But I'm glad it's getting a decent reception. There's obviously a lot of things that people are slightly critical about, understandably, tone, nature, and other things, in regards to like particular, like, heritage and cultural situations as well. But for the most part, it's relatively well received, so yeah. Yeah, like, a lot of people are saying that this is sort of the most fully realized version of Far Cry that's been released in quite some time. It's just fun, it's big. Metacritic scores, it's anywhere from a 75 to an 80 depending on the platform. So it's, you know, it's loved, like, not high praise love, but, like, it's still, you know, a 75 or up, I think, is a pretty goddamn good score. So it's good fun. It's one of the most enjoyable games I've played in 2021. Would I say it's game of the year? No, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. If you've got some spare money in your pocket and you're looking for a game to potentially keep you tied up for 30, 40 hours and then maybe more with subsequent DLC, this could be something for you, where you can almost switch the brain off at times and just go, you know, I'm going full chaos on this run. Just taking in all the explodey weapons. I'm just going to shoot everything. I'm going to send my devil rooster in there to attack everybody else. And then I'm going to fly away in that helicopter I'm going to steal. And then I'm going to jump out of that helicopter and use my wingsuit to fly across the island. And then I'm going to land over there and steal that tank and go shoot everyone up. Like, it's just the way you can sort of connect those chaotic dots just effortlessly was awesome. Like, and it was just one thing led to another, and then just having these big, giant, crazy action set pieces where you're just like, holy fuck, I just did all that. And then there'll be just some random joke thrown in there and you just pitch yourself laughing. Yeah. Speaking of stealing helicopters and flying across the map and tanks and etc., I tried to play the Battlefield beta, but unfortunately my graphics card needed updating and I wasn't in the mood to fiddle around with that, unfortunately. But I did watch some gameplay and there's some elements to it that looks really cool. There's, like, in the particular map that they've got for the beta right now, there's a rocket, like a spaceship that kind of takes off. And there's also the weather element where a tornado just appears on the map. And it's been pretty funny watching players just run into it. But yeah, it doesn't look ready. It does not.
And that seems to be the universal sort of takeaway from that beta is everyone's like, EA, DICE, whoever, just take, if you need more time, just delay it a bit longer. We'll be fine to wait. But I think they're just like locked and loaded for this sort of date in the next month when this game's going to come out, head to head with Call of Duty, and then following shortly after that is obviously Halo Infinite, which has gotten so much love with their sort of betas and things as of recent. Where Battlefield, they're like, yeah, just maybe wait a little bit more, please. We're happy to wait, but I think it's going to come out and be a bit undercooked and
that's the
suffer.
Worst thing that they could do.
Yeah. Just to like, people would understand, people would be accepting of it, and it'd get you out of that release window where you're competing with COD. Like if you bump this thing to, I don't know, tail end of January or something. You know, I'm no developer. I don't know if that's enough time to get this thing singing the way you want it to, but yeah, bump it 2 months, get you away from COD and get you away from Halo, and maybe you could be the first big title off the rank in 2022. So
True.
We'll see. But yeah, the internet is certainly very outspoken on that. I wanted to play it, but I still don't have internet, Miss Hart. I've got the NBN coming in on Tuesday to maybe finally connect me up and fix the line issue.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, until then, no internet. I had access to play, that Battlefield 2042, but sadly could not download it because, the download was fairly sizable and I had to pick and choose my battles.
Yeah. 17
As it was, I had to download 60-odd gig for Far Cry 6, and sneaking that in on the work data plan was scary enough. So if I had to bump some more on that, I would have been in a bit of trouble. But yeah, Far Cry 6, really enjoy it. Really fun. Just chaos everywhere, good writing, good cast of characters. You know, it's a memorable sort of group of people you meet along the way, as is in these Far Cry games. Some very unique and distinctive little cliques that you befriend or go up against, and it makes for good gaming, good entertainment, and it's good laughs. I'm all for it. Amigos need to be in every game. I want animal sort of sidekicks in all games moving forward.
As long as they don't get hurt.
Yeah, you do. Full disclosure to Miss Hart. If you were playing
dogs.
this, you would have to shoot dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Rottweilers and Dobermans. You know, obviously the stereotypical evil angry dogs that you see in most games and media. But
Don't
you've got to
matter.
shoot them down. There's no way you can pacify them without killing them, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. It's already off my list.
Yeah. But yeah, Squid Game, Far Cry 6, been keeping us very, very well entertained and very busy this week. But Miss Hart, maybe we could jump over into some news. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
This week's news headlines.
Okay, so we've got a smattering of sort of little bangers and little quick hitters throughout this news segment. The first one hasn't really got any documentation or any sort of script we're going to read through, but I just wanted to highlight that the trailer for Welcome to Raccoon City, obviously the new Resident Evil film, the trailer has slowly zombie shuffled its way onto the internet over the last 24 hours. Well, 2 trailers, I should say.
Yes.
There's an American version, then the international version has also come out. International version is 100 times better than the American version, even though I do respect and love the hell out of the Four Non Blondes song making its way into the US trailer. Love that song. Love that band. Had their album for some reason when I was a kid. With that song on it, I was a bit of a Four Non Blondes fan. But Miss Hart, when you watch this trailer, or maybe you've watched both of the trailers, what did you think?
I didn't see the international one. A lot of people are saying that the American trailer, the vibe feels very CW.
Yeah, very sci-fi.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of cruel to make that some kind of almost like a pillar of maybe affordability or quality on content. So yeah, I guess everyone's thinking it's not looking as polished, unfortunately. So, and And I kind of agree. I try not to make too many judgments on things because like I said I haven't seen the international one, and you said that the international one is way better. So it could be just a bad cut.
Yeah, like I don't get why the two trailers are so like they show a lot of the same stuff, but just the way it's shot, they take the song out, they lean more into the horror, they add a couple of extra sort of clips and segments of the movie into this trailer.
Yeah.
And the tone is just completely different watching these two trailers. Like, you still do get a lot of the same takeaways, but you get a little bit more backstory and understanding of how this movie's going to take place and how they're working all these moving parts in together. Like, I'll agree, it does look very low budget at times, very B-grade cheesy horror. Like, not cheesy, but like B-grade horror, which I don't mind because early Resident Evil was a bit B-grady in its horror, so it sort of hits that beat. But some of the practical effects look really good, but some of the CGI, there's a really, really quick scene of a tyrant climbing down. I'm assuming it's probably William Birkin when he's inject himself with the virus in the film. And there's the scene with the tyrant, and it does not look good, Miss Hart. The tyrant looks very rough. Just the head of the tyrant, like the rest of the body looks like it's in brand and in line with how it is in the games, but the head of this thing just looks rough.
Yeah.
Very rough.
I wonder if there's time for them to fix these kind of things, but probably not.
Yeah. There's still time. Like, that's it. Like, this could just be an early first pass of the CGI. Like, the movie's out in a month and a bit time, I think, month and a half, 6-7 weeks maybe.
Maybe then, yeah, maybe that might be enough time to try to fix a few things. But yeah, I'll have to watch the international one now. You've got me curious.
Yeah, check it out, and I'd love to see, because I watched the US one when it first broke. And I'm like, okay, I'm excited because I can see where they're trying to take some of these parts. But then I watched the international. I'm like, man, it felt like it was, you watched like the PG version, then you watched the horror R version, like just with the complete shift in tone. So yeah, anyone that hasn't checked it out, or maybe they've just seen the US trailer, just jump on YouTube, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City International trailer, watch that one, and you'll get a completely different experience and probably feel a little bit better about it. But it's interesting because they're going to try and blend, obviously, parts of Resident Evil 1, parts of Resident Evil 2, and then because they mentioned the twins in this trailer, which they first came about in Code Veronica, we're going to get some parts out of that somehow blended into here too. Yeah, it's interesting. But I did some quick research. I don't want to go too heavy on this any longer, but how they're weaving in the whole Raccoon City thing. Apparently Chris and Claire were orphans that grew up in Raccoon City, which is obviously new to their story. Oh, no. So that's sort of how they're leaning in and tying and anchoring Claire and Chris to this town initially. Okay. That they grew up there, and there was all kinds of, I guess, bad shit going on for years. So yeah, that's a new thing, a new development from the Resident Evil universe, is that from what I saw online is that they grew up as orphans or whatever. They grew up in Raccoon City, which is new to their story.
Yeah, hopefully it's a fine line when you start actually changing the narrative, especially when a game like Resident Evil is. Would you say Resident Evil is pretty story driven? Like, people are pretty, dedicated to the underlining story that kind of continues on through essentially all the games.
I think so, at least for good parts of those games. It does get a little bit whimsical and hysterical with some of the characters you meet and whatnot, but sure. At least for me, I love that there is that same consistent heartbeat through all the games and the offshoots where they do connect these breadcrumbs and connect the dots, for certain story moments from previous games and then weaved into the future, like what they did with RE8, and sort of just some big moments of realization going all the way back to Resident Evil 1 and how that all connected. So there is a good long-term sort of planned out plot, and I'm hoping that they're doing the same with this movie. It doesn't feel too fan servicey. It feels very true to the source material. There's some scenes in that trailer that are cut straight from the video game. Like, if you could put the video game and the trailer side by side, you'd see those scenes play out exactly from those games, which is cool, but it looks all right, I'm excited still to watch this. It looks like it's the Resident Evil I wanted because all those Anderson films with Mila Jovovich, not a good time, in my opinion.
I liked one. Like, it's not a masterpiece, but I like watching it from time to time.
One was certainly, like, one's the best of that bunch by a mile.
No, two's not terrible.
Anyway, something that is most certainly not terrible. We've had an announcement. Microsoft have announced / unveiled, I guess / circulated into the wild if you're a lucky enough content creator. They've released special 20th anniversary edition controllers and Adidas sneakers. Both of these, Miss Hart, I think they both look pretty heckin' good considering it's like a collab / retrospective of 20 years. The controller I especially want to get my hands on, but apparently the sneakers you can only get via way of social media giveaways or if you're a fancy influencer and they sent them to you. But I kind of want both, Miss Hart.
The controller I can do. I always loved it when our gaming consoles or peripherals or anything like that had the frosted see-through kind of shells, whether it be like controllers or even like your Game Boy. I always loved that design. I always thought it was really cool. But these shoes, they're fine. Like, it could have obviously been worse. Maybe could have been better, but they're not horrible. I don't see me getting them and being able to actually pull off wearing them. But like as I kind of like quizzed you, I'm like, I really hope that they glow in the dark because they look like they should.
They really do. They look angry and neon and made with Shrek's blood in them or something because you should be able to wear these into a nightclub or just of an evening and they should be emitting some kind of green aura off them.
Yeah, you said earlier today, you said it looks like it was made with like Mountain Dew, and I thought that was a really good description on this color choice here. So, but yeah, this kind of stuff's fun. But I guess it's especially with the shoes, like a very limited access to these kind of things. I guess that adds to it. I guess if you're one of the lucky few that actually gets your hands on it, then it just makes it more special because it's not the person with the biggest bank account or the quickest bots buying something,
But I want to be the one with the biggest bots buying the shoes. I want the shoes, Miss Hart. I want them on the shelf.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Xbox, notice me. Send me these shoes.
Also, props to Xbox for releasing all these different controllers.
Yeah.
Like any collector is screwed, man. Like they just keep on releasing these limited release controllers, especially with these game releases as well. So the Far Cry one didn't look great.
No, it does not. But that 20th edition Xbox controller though, I like that it is a little bit more restrained and pulled back compared to the shoes. Like you do get a pop of green on the back sort of grips as well as obviously on the X button itself and around the D-pad. But outside of that, it's just this sort of black grey palette and it just looks really, really nice. I just jumped onto Amazon to see if I could pre-order it. It's not up for pre-order on Amazon Australia. I'm guessing the US pre-orders are probably already sorted. Out, Canada is not up yet as well, but I need to try and find this sucker because I really want that controller to go on my shelf, Miss Hart. I needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so nice. But we'll get more peripherals announced on the way for other platforms, no doubt. It's just a endless cycle. Especially now the new Switch OLED out, which is getting some positive reviews. But Miss Hart, I just can't get on board. I just don't play my Switch.
Me either. And I should be loading it up soon because of Animal Crossing event that's this week, I believe.
Is that the Halloween one?
Well, it's an Animal Crossing kind of like direct event where they're obviously going to like inform. But the Halloween stuff, I think, either has begun or will be beginning. I have to get on board.
I will admit I've had slight urges to go back to Animal Crossing once or twice over the last month or so. Haven't done that yet, but maybe I will. See how See how
See
run
if
down
anyone's
my
left.
island is. Yeah, and if all my friends have left the island.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful they're still around. At least maybe 4 out of the working day weeks, as like what Eidos Montreal have announced this week, Miss Hart. So they've announced they're going to be moving to a permanent 4-day work week, a move it hopes will, in quotes, increase the productivity and well-being of our employees. They announced the initiative on its website. Eidos Montreal explained it would begin closing its Montreal and Sherbrooke studios each Friday within the next few weeks, shifting its teams from the current 40-hour weekly work schedule to 32 hours without changing the working conditions currently in place, nor the salaries of employees.
Wow.
So that is like, well fucking done, Eidos Montreal. That is awesome. Hopefully we see more things like this, because not only the reduced work hours is great, but the fact that they're not getting penalised and losing 8 hours of salary for that work week as well. Really, really, really well done. And this is an awesome step in the right direction.
Yeah, so full disclosure, they are the first one, the AAA studio. I believe Young Horses, with the indie team, they announced that they were turning to a 4-day week earlier this year, mid this year as well. The team that did, I think, Bugsnax. So they've actually been running through it. They did a trial, and they said it just worked out really well. So then they've changed it now. So they were doing 4-day weeks. So now we're seeing like maybe bigger studios get on board, which is good. Man, like let's make it happen across all companies, really. As long as they do like this, like, you know, don't penalize the workers, don't, you know, screw them over with their salaries or how much they make. So, but, you know.
Exactly. Like, it's all well and good. They're like, we're going to scale back the work week. But if there's some fine print in there, like, yeah, but you're not going to get paid for that 5th day that you've been potentially relying upon for years to pay your bills and your rent and everything. So this is awesome. Hopefully we see more of the big studios make these types of moves for people's general well-being and health, because it's an awesome step. And I think we're going to see things like this happening more and more often in a lot of companies. Like, I've heard rumors in the place that I've worked at, here and there, they're looking at things like this for the future as well. So
Wow.
We'll see. It's exciting, because I do not like working 3 days, let alone 5. So if I could get to 4, happy days. But we'll see. But no, kudos to Eidos Montreal for that. That is awesome. And hopefully it sort of sets a precedent amongst the AAA studios to maybe make some positive changes like this moving forward. A change that's positive to a degree, but I guess in the short term it probably sounds a bit negative. But as of 22nd of February of 2022, Forsaken's campaign, The Tangled Shore, the destination and the bulk of Year 4's seasonal content, including the fan favourite Presage and Harbinger missions, will be removed from the game, Miss Hart. Bungie clarified not all Forsaken's content will disappear, with the Dreaming City destination, Last Wish raid, Shattered Throne dungeon, and associated strikes remaining in the game, while Year 4's Proving Ground strike and Battlefield and Battlegrounds will also remain. They also say in an official quote, vaulting this content will allow us the space to launch the Witch Queen expansion and its new Throne World destination, as well as new features like weapon crafting, the new legendary difficulty campaign option, the new glaive weapon archetype, plus all the additional content we have planned for the 4 new seasons to come starting in February. So, Miss Hart, apologies listeners, I've got Frenchie warfare going on in the background here. The boys have gotten a little wild.
Battle Royale going on.
I'm just going to watch this play out in the background here.
Oh. The vaulting content is pretty common with Destiny. We recently I can't remember all the planets that left, but they vaulted Titan, which was a favorite of mine. In regards to this content being vaulted, I don't really care. I haven't been to the Tangled Shore in a very long time. They're actually moving the only person or like character that you would care about, which is Spider. He's getting moved. So I can understand why people of the community are probably a bit ticked off. We've seen a lot of people who are from the MMO community kind of, you know, bring their opinion across where they would feel angry because you're losing content that you paid for. But I mean, I understand why they do this. Like, you've got to make space in order to improve and expand and make things better. And I guess I can say that because, like I said, I don't really care about what's being removed. But it's been pretty interesting actually kind of seeing everyone's reaction to this. So
yeah, I think you nailed it. Like, typical or classic MMORPG fans would be blowing up hysterically if they were removing, zones from World of Warcraft or whatever else.
Yeah.
But the reason they're doing this is so they can further expand on the world as a whole and bring in new content and gear up for this Witch Queen expansion. So I get it. I understand. I'm with you. Like, I'm not a big Destiny 2 player. Like, I play it big in spurts. And then I park it for a while, and I'm currently in that parked stage, but maybe I'll get the keys and fire up the vehicle again and take it for another test drive in the near future. But for now, I've had my fill. I'll go back again sometime down the line. But it just shows how this timeline is just so well thought out as far as release schedule and new content and moving this and vaulting that and bringing this back in. Like, this is all part of a multi-year plan by Bungie, and it should come as no surprise. Like, this will keep happening as new content comes out. The world can be only so big.
Exactly right. In order to maintain it and keep the game as fluid as they can, which they're constantly always running into issues, especially every time that, players demand guns to be into the game, and then they introduce the guns to the game, and then the meta changes, and then things fuck up, and then they have to go in and fix it. Like, it's a constant to and fro, just trying to appease upset players for whatever reason, as well as bringing in new stuff and keeping everything balanced. Like, I could understand wanting to condense that bubble just so they can do whatever they can to make things as perfect as possible for all players. So
No, 100%. And that's it. Like, everybody's never going to be completely happy. You're always going to get some person on the other side of the fence that wants to disrupt and get upset for no reason, and it'll happen. But it's just, Bungie care about this game and care about this world, and they're just going to continue to expand on it. And that might just mean that things need to be put in the cupboard for a little while. Like, you might see some of these things come back in a few years' time, where it might be reimagined and new content added to it as well. So just put the pitchforks away, and just Destiny fans out there, just be excited, because the game is just so well supported and so thoroughly planned out, and this is all part of the bigger picture.
It's been getting better. Yeah.
Sadly, something that is not getting better and probably wasn't as well thought out as Destiny. We're talking about Marvel's The Avengers, the game that was done by Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics. They have just released or added the option to pay for XP and resource collection boosts using real money in the game. This move has been slated by many fans who believe it offers a stark, not Tony Stark, just a stark contrast to previous statements made surrounding the game's monetization tactics. They were very anti, no pay to win type of scenario in this game. You can just going to experience this. There's going to be no XP boosters to purchase. And lo and behold, Enix and Crystal Dynamics have said, you know what, we can maybe make a little bit extra cheddar out of this. Now that it's on Xbox Game Pass, part of the service, maybe that's the direct ripple effect to this, where they're like, people aren't buying the game per se, so this might make them more inclined to throw some real money in our pockets to get an XP boost to catch up, because they've been waiting for this game to get on Game Pass for so long. So that's the only logic in my head when I'm big brain in this thing, to think, what are they trying to say to justify this? And that's all I could think of. Outside of that, it's just doing marketing things where they say one thing and do another, and it's gotten a lot of people offside.
Yeah, I just think in the long run, this game hasn't maintained the player base, and I guess everything that they had hoped it would. And I guess dropping this is probably a way for them to maybe keep their head above water, money wise. So it's pretty bad, especially if you kind of started off your mission about this game being anti pay to win, and being no, we're not about that, and then completely turning tail, especially when things are looking rough. I don't know anyone that still plays this. They recently dropped some pretty consistent content. We had the Hawkeye content, the Kate Bishop, then Hawkeye, Then we had has the Black Panther stuff?
Yeah, the War for Wakanda stuff's out as well.
Yeah.
And that was a big expansion, that piece. And that was obviously all included in the base price of the game. You didn't have to pay for any of this new content. Obviously, Spider-Man's on his way. So there's some stuff coming, which could incentivize one to maybe throw some money in their bucket. But yeah, just if you're going to die on a hill about not paying for XP boosts and things, and then lo and behold, you move that hill, you're going to look like idiots.
Yeah.
And that's, it's a bit of a greedy tactic. But as you said, Miss Hart, I don't think they've still turned a profit on this game. I know this game cost them a lot of money to make, and from those recent sales runs from a few months ago, I think they still hadn't returned a profit on it. So that's maybe why they're trying to get a little bit of a little minor boost, death by 1,000 cuts. Let's get there like this, where people might just chuck $5-10 in and hopefully get us over that line.
Maybe.
Yeah. But we'll see. We're talking offline. I'm like, yeah, I could go back to this game on Game Pass, but I need people to play with. If I'm playing by myself, I'm not going back. But if anyone out there wants to maybe experience some Avengers on Game Pass, hit your boy up, because I'm down to at least I want to try the War for Wakanda DLC. That part actually looks pretty cool, and from what I've seen on reviews, it's a pretty well realized expansion with a lot to do and see, and some good enemies brought in. So
they brought some great names for it. Some great actors to attach their voice to. But yeah, I think that's all it is. It's just like people that enjoy the content, like the people that they played with, they just started, falling off, and then, they stopped playing, and then that's just a ripple effect. Yep,
exactly. I'm certainly part of that ripple effect, that's for sure. And the next little quick hitter doesn't really resonate with you and I don't think, Miss Hart, but the rest of the world clearly went goo goo gaga for this when it was announced. So they've finally showcased the final DLC fighter that is going to be coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it is none other than Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Cool. Very happy. Very, very, very happy for the world as a whole that has been very excited about this. I saw some people saying, this is the greatest release trailer of all time and stuff like that. And I'm like, fucking what? Excuse me? Like big brain stuff again. All I can think is, okay, maybe we're going to see more Disney Nintendo crossover stuff now. Maybe. That's all I could come up with. But outside of that, I'm like, cool, man. Kingdom Hearts doesn't really resonate with me too much. Smash is fine, but I'm not a purist like a lot of people are on it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, happy for you all, but I'm going to keep watching this B-grade Resident Evil trailer.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of brought up that it's obviously a big deal that Nintendo managed to get Disney on board, essentially. So now you kind of see Disney written in the kind of copyright stuff when it comes to Smash releases. I know a lot of people have been kind of hopeful for a long time, actually, kind of hopeful for Sora to be in the game. So I guess this is kind of like the perfect cherry on top to end all the, making him the final downloadable character. I never played Kingdom Hearts. I don't care for Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. But I think for any of the releases of the DLC characters for Super Smash really hasn't been for a person like me who doesn't even really play Smash. But like you kind of said, I'm happy for those that are happy, that kind of got what they wanted and felt that this was the right character to be the final character kind of thing. I heard people saying that this is one of the best gaming collaborations ever in history. I say I don't think it is without being able to, counter and provide one that I think is one. But I guess for someone who it just doesn't resonate with, it's pretty easy for me to say that I don't agree with it. But
yeah, it's certainly this game and this announcement's on a different path to very much you and I think. We're collectively happy for everybody that's got emotional connections to Kingdom Hearts and or Smash. But it just, I completely missed the boat on it. I'm like, okay, cool, that's awesome. But just seeing some of the reactions from the purists, I guess, or the massive fans, I watched the kind of funny reaction with Blessing and Tim Geddes on it. And those two
They were
Like,
flabbergasted.
the joy that they had, and that's where Blessing was like, this is the greatest announcement trailer of all time. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. Clearly I don't get something here, but you know what? I'm very happy for you guys to be so excited and so full of joy. And there was a lot of people on social media that were equally as happy and excited and full of joy. And I'm very happy for them. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts, I've got the collection downstairs. Never played a minute of it. I know I probably need to one day, but I don't know what it is. There's just something in that game that just hasn't hooked me to say, you need to play this right now. Like, I'll probably play it in 5 years' time and go, you know what, this was fine. But yeah, Sora coming to Smash. Happy days. The world united over this announcement.
Yeah, thumbs up. Cool.
Yeah. It's definitely, it falls into the fine bucket for you and I. But yeah, very happy. Very happy for everybody. The people I think we're probably collectively not happy for is the people involved at Twitch, because the Twitch ship has sprung yet another leak, Miss Hart. I'll just grab some words here from over at gamesindustry.biz. So Twitch earlier this week has confirmed it suffered a security breach that exposed its source code, leading streamers' earnings and more. Acknowledgement came via Twitter, with the company adding that it is working with urgency to understand the extent of this. A blog post then shared a little more detail, and it reads, "We have learned that some data was exposed to the internet due to an error in a Twitch server configuration change that was subsequently accessed by a malicious third party. As the investigation is ongoing, we are still in the process of understanding the impact in detail. Twitch also addressed concerns over user data that may have been exposed. It said that at this time, there is no indication that login details such as passwords have been leaked, although it will continue investigating. The site also reiterated that it does not store full credit card numbers, so these have not been exposed. It was reported that the hacker shared a 125 gigabyte torrent online, claiming the leak was to foster more disruption and competition in the online video gaming space, adding that the Twitch community is a disgusting, toxic cesspool. Well, he's not fucking lying.
No.
The breach exposed Twitch's source code, detailed on its mobile, desktop, and console clients, payouts towards top streamers from the past 2 years, and details on other Amazon-owned projects, including a proposed stream rival, Vapor. Miss Hart. Oh my goodness, the hits just keep on coming over there at Twitch.
Yeah. Like, full disclosure, like, the information about this leak and this hack and the torrent being available, that information probably came out a lot earlier than Twitter's acknowledgement of that it had happened.
Than Twitch's acknowledgement, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, there was, like, a lot of, like, news story and coverage and a lot of things on Twitter going around before Twitch actually confirmed that this actually happened. And I understand why they need to be smart about before, you know, putting forward and having accountability for things that kind of have happened. But I kind of like woke up to it. I think Australia kind of experienced it as it happened. Yeah, like there's been some interesting takes after this. Having anyone's personal information or private information exposed is pretty shitty. Attacking a corporate entity, like, I agree Twitch has done some pretty shitty things and has had a pretty shitty rough year with like implementing things and trying to stop, like, obviously like the hate raids and the some other the discriminatory things that have been happening and other stupid choices that they've actually made. Is this the way to get things done? I don't necessarily think so, especially considering that it put a lot of users on edge, because it wasn't really, and they still haven't really confirmed fully what has been like exposed to the hackers. And I don't know if this was ever confirmed or not. People were saying that the first torrent was only one part of what was taken, and they believe that there was a second part, but like I said, not confirmed. The other takeaway was that a lot of people had a lot of opinions based on seeing what streamers kind of took home. Obviously the big streamers, there were a lot of dollars.
A lot of cash, yeah.
A lot of dollars. Personally, I'm surprised that people were surprised or didn't think that these streamers made a lot of money.
Yeah, it was very, very tone deaf, I think, where people were like flabbergasted, like, oh my God, they earned that. I'm like, you can Google and like see live sub counts. And so all this tied into was the sub money mixed with the bits. Like, obviously you don't see donos and their third-party contracts with, say, peripheral companies, but you get that sort of mainline info that's readily available for people. You can do the math and work it out. But yeah.
But like overall, like a lot of people were kind of like, you know, had some opinions about like what people made and how much they made and stuff. And it was interesting seeing how streamers kind of reacted. There were some that kind of got attacked and they felt bad about it. There was others that wore it on their sleeve and they're like, yeah, I am doing well, and that is because of people who support me. And then there's also people who kind of said, like, why are people angry that streamers make so much money when there are actors and musicians out there making crazy amounts of money and they get supported all the time, kind of thing, for their craft? So why is it any different than a streamer? And I think I can't remember who said it, but someone kind of put the pin where it's unfortunately that dangerous ground with streamers and the viewers, where it's that kind of friendship connection, the fake, there's a word for it. I can't remember what the word is called, but it's like that fake friendship, that idea that like that the viewer is friends with the streamer. So I think that kind of relationship is what makes people a bit shocked to see streamers making a lot of money. So
and I get it. Like, yeah, film stars and movie stars and you know, musicians and things, obviously they earn a lot of money, but a lot of that is usually paid for by the big studios, where a lot of this is, I guess, for lack of a better term, it's crowdfunded. A lot of this money that people are earning, where I'm not going to fault any of these people for getting all this money. Like, get the bag if you can. Like, life is short, and you know, if this is your job or your career, you got to do all you can within reason to maximize your earning potential, because especially in content creation, I don't think anyone's going to be watching a 60-year-old streamer. Like, there's a couple of niches, obviously, but like, you know, people that are coming to watch the elite gameplay of some of these people, like a Shroud or whatever, his speed on keyboard and mouse is going to deteriorate over time. So, you know, earn whatever you can, fella, and then once those skills aren't as elite and maybe the numbers start dropping off, you can worry less about content creation and just start living. So, yeah, power to everyone getting the bag. Like, if you can, do it. Just as long as you're not hurting anybody or yourself, earn your money however you can.
Yeah. And that's the major thing. The whole thing about Amazon trying to steal a Steam rival and calling it Vapor. Yeah. Like that, and there was like a game, apparently, like a game asset or something of a Vape King or like Vape something. I don't know. It was like some weird thing that they found assets for a game. But like that in itself doesn't shock me, that Amazon would try to kind of like maybe start mooching in on Steam. But yeah, like overall the leak, the hack, you know, it's a bit shocking when big companies like this, especially a big company that is attached to Amazon, has their data and information, you know, attacked. There's a lot of people within the like programming, engineering, or like kind of like computer kind of technologically back end stuff kind of shocked, had a lot of opinions on how maybe Twitch was like holding their data, and had a few choice words to say how things were handled, and like in a bad way, unprofessional. But yeah, overall, like hopefully not too much malice for people's personal information and such didn't get hit. And obviously, I've seen a few people say it, and I think we should probably always push it forward. Remember that there's a lot of people that are staff for Twitch, and you know, they are not directly responsible for a lot of things, so kind of like shitting on them for any of this sort of stuff is always in bad taste. So remember, there's always the big dogs up top that are making the choices and doing some of the bad stuff. So just be smart about where you want to target your discretion. So
yeah, contain your rage, and like what you were just sort of saying there, Miss Hart, I'll quickly just tack on the back of that. Yeah, Twitch was apparently like higher ups were warned repeatedly over the last 6 to 12 months regarding security and safety issues with their back-end systems, and yet, nothing was done. So it wasn't as if, I'm not going to say they deserve this, because obviously the ripple effect is, Twitch look like idiots and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. But the data that's come out, I guess, can be potentially more harmful to the content creators because, the pitchfork armies are, how dare you look at all this money. But one, I guess, good thing that came out, at least it sort of showed a clear gap there where everyone's like, female streamers are stealing all our money. They're taking all our views. And then you saw the small slice of the pie that female streamers made up of compared to the male streamers from an earning potential. I'm like, you know what, that's awesome. Hopefully that settles down all those mouth breathers for a while and lets people just do what they do regardless of judgment and hate. But Twitch, get your shit sorted. It feels like every 6 weeks or so we've got a negative Twitch related article about something happening in the back end that's just fucked. Yeah,
it does seem the case. Like I kind of said, like they've had a pretty shitty year, but some of it's very self-inflicted that they and like I didn't know that they knew that their security had like some flaws in it. So I definitely don't wish bad shit happening to people, but I mean, if you knew about it, they had the opportunity to stop it. So
very, very silly indeed. And something else I think that's silly in a very good way will lead us directly into this.
Tweet of the week.
And this tweet comes via way of @2star games. That's the word written 2, not the number 2. And the tweet reads, a horror game where you navigate an island in an old train, upgrade it over time, and use it to fight an evil spider train named Charles. Here's the first trailer. And then there was a Steam link in the comments to pre-order and get your hands on this game. Holy guacamole, does this game look equal parts insane, but also a bit terrifying, like a fucking clown devil spider train coming at you across this island. Like, I'm down, but I feel like I'm going to get a bit scared.
The element of surprise would scare me. I don't really have the fear of, like, it seems like they're kind of trying to combine a few fears. I don't know if people have a fear of trains, but they've added like spiders, and it has like a clown face to it as well. So they're kind of like combining a few phobias of people. But it is just, to me, it's just ridiculous. It's funny, ridiculous kind of thing. So I always like it when people make these kind of outlandish horror games because, people play it for the ridiculousness of it, or like the general like fun nature of the horror element as well. So go get that money,
Yeah, like we were talking just last week regarding, world builders and sort of building sim games being all pretty similar. And then you had Timberborn. I was going to say Beavertown. I'm like, that's definitely not Beavertown.
Definitely not, but
watch your Google search history, look that one up. But this one then feels very different. Obviously, we've got a lot of like train and farming sims and stuff, and now we've got this horror-laced train sim where you're getting chased by a demonic spider clown train across this world. But I want to play it. Like, graphically, it looks pretty good considering the source material that we're dealing with here. It looks pretty polished and looks pretty scary and ominous. So I need to try and get my hands on this to see how it actually runs.
Yeah. So I think they're taking wish lists at the moment, but it's called Choo Choo Charles. If for anyone that wants to look into this game, so everyone probably saw it making the rounds on social media, but good.
Yeah, like it's popped off. It's like from the screenshot this morning from this tweet, 1.2 million views so far. So it's getting some traction, one might say. It's
nice.
Yes. All right. Something that is also nice. If you don't want to wait for Choo Choo Charles to come out because it could be a little bit of a longer wait between stations, you can get into these
new releases and events.
All right, so no events to announce this week, as obviously lockdown and things like that are still running rampant here in the AU. We're partway through PAX Online right now, but the time this episode comes out, it will be a distant memory.
It's over.
You will be able to do a lot of VOD stuff. You can check the Twitch streams and watch panels and things like that if you wanted to check out some of those panels regarding a whole host of video game and pop culture goodness. So be sure to check that stuff out. As far as podcasts, obviously listening to episode 258 of THG. Also out this week, we've got the latest Putting in Work, which is going to see Australia's John O'Peck with Pat Contry on the show. And the next one, I'm just sort of willing this into the universe to hopefully know that someone's going to be finished this week. We'll get the Far Cry 6 spoiler cast out this week as well. All things going well. And, hoping, wishing, wanting, going to realize that into the world in the next coming days. So that'll be podcasts hitting the 8-bit RSS feeds. Movies and TV, Aquaman King of Atlantis is dropping on HBO Max. So that is an Aquaman animated jaunt, Miss Hart?
That's right. The animation style is the best that I could probably link to, maybe more of an Adult Swim kind of vibe.
Okay.
Not necessarily like, kind of like PG kind of cartoony. It looks good. I like the kind of angle that they're going with the Aquaman franchise. They're obviously kind of like almost like detaching themselves obviously from the movie franchise that's kind of happening right now. And it looks quirky. It looks good. So I don't know how Australia can get their hands on it, but it's on HBO Max. So
yeah,
work your way around.
Sadly, we might be waiting a little longer, or it might be simulcast on Binge and Foxtel if we can get lucky. So we'll see. As far as games dropping this week, there's a good chunk, a good assortment of games depending on platform preference, and if you want remasters or new content. Obviously, we've got Back for Blood dropping this week, which is the new sort of squad-based zombie shooter, which is getting a bit of love out in the marketplace. Disco Elysium, the final cut, is finally out. Monster Crown, Ori the Collection on Switch. Slender, The Arrival on mobile. Dungeon Encounters. The Jackbox Party Pack 8. There's 8 Jackbox Party Pack games now, Miss Hart. My God. They are good fun to play, though. I'll say that.
They are fun.
The Rift Breaker Crisis Remastered Trilogy is out this week. We've got the Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles game dropping, as well as NHL 22 and The Good Life. So a good assortment of games across all platforms, all genres. Plenty of stuff there to keep you busy. Maybe there's a few games there you've been holding out for a while. I want to play a bit of Back for Blood, but it's going to be another one of those games that are live and die based off playing with friends.
Exactly. Back for Blood is definitely a game with friends.
But it's on Game Pass, so maybe we can play it because there's no cash outlay.
That's true. I have to look into it.
Fingers crossed, my internet is restored
Yes, that's also
on Tuesday. So maybe we could do a little sneaky midweek session. Jump on.
Yeah. We'll see how your internet goes.
Yep.
Because it might be rough.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
NBN, don't burn me for a third time, please. But yeah, Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG 258. Anything else you want to say before we maybe shut down the studio for another week?
Yeah, just a thanks to everyone that kind of, gave our social media posts, especially in regards to PAX Radio. All the, content creators, not just 8-bit, but everyone out there and supporting the social media posts and checking it out. Obviously, as you mentioned, it would have passed by now the time of listening, but just want to preemptively say that everyone that kind of, gave us some support and a bit of push already, thank you so much. It really, really counts.
Yeah, 110%. And also the people that have been checking out our new sexy merch store.
That's right.
We've migrated merch companies and we've got a nice store set up. So if you head on over to shop8bit.net, that is all one word, you can get yourself a nice assortment of tees, hats, hoodies, aprons if you want, cushions, drink bottles, coffee mugs, all that kind of stuff. It is all there. Some really, really nice looking bits of kit. We don't have all our designs on display. We've just got sort of a select few, and we're going to sort of try and rotate some of these designs in and out seasonally just to keep things fresh and, keep people coming back for more, maybe. Yeah. Keep people interested. So shop8bit.net, obviously ko-fi.com/we're8bit if you want to support us monetarily over there. If you don't, that's fine. Just be sure to rate, review, subscribe us and all the other podcasts you're listening to on the reg. And lastly, audiotechnica.com or audiotechnica.com.au to get the best in audio-based equipment. You want to start a podcast, you want to up your streetwear game, you want to improve your gaming at home. They've got everything on there: headphones, microphones, gaming headsets, turntables, you name it, they've got it. You want it, go get it. But Miss Hart, I guess that brings us to the end. So I guess we'll say thanks for stopping on by. Much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.